So drawing angle bisectors is not that much different from drawing perpendicular bisectors. Again, you have an angle. There's my angle. I need to divide the angle into 2 equal parts. How can I do that? Yes?
By making if you go the middle, like a point, and somehow draw a line, I don't know.
Okay. Yes?
With your protractor, because it's like a right angle, and you put the thing so it's like with the angle, and then you find the middle from your angle, which is 70 degrees, you find the middle.
Okay, so I figure out what my angle is. This is a 70-degree angle, which means to bisect it, it's going to be if I want to divide this angle into 2, what are each of the little angles going to be? 35 degrees. That would be half. So I measure 35, make a dot, draw from there to the center. It is. Well, if we measure it, okay, if I measure this angle is 35 degrees. If I measure this angle, this angle is 35 degrees. And again, when you're measuring a degree or 2 off either way is not going to make that much of a difference. You've got the thickness of the pencil you're using. You've got whether you actually did, like I did it a little bit higher on this mark than exactly in the center of this mark, right? Like stuff like that. A couple of degrees either way is not going to make that much of a difference. Okay, so here I have bisected this angle. One way of doing this, therefore, is to figure out the angle that you want to bisect, figure out half of that, measure half of that, and then draw a line from that to your center point to bisect the angle. There are other ways.
Bisect means just like basically splitting it in half.
Yeah, exactly. Bisector, 2 sectors. 2 equal sectors. All right. Okay, much like with a perpendicular line segment, you can also use a compass.
Oh man.
To measure this.
You do the thing with the thing that looks like an eye.
Shush. That is angle DEF. Thank you. Oops. To start, you try not to get rid of your little screw pin. Meh. Okay. Doesn't really matter how far to start. Okay, it does matter a little bit how far. It has to be smaller than the angle. So I'm going to go from here. There. Okay. Draw, place your point, your compass point on the center of the angle, and draw an arc. Label the points of the intersection. Place your compass point on S and draw an arc. Oops. Place your compass point on T. And draw an arc. This, where the two intersect, is going to bisect your angle.
Is that just another way that you can do it?
It's just another way. You draw a line through the middle. This angle is equal to this angle. Check it using your protractor, which I just threw on the ground. Okay, line it up. So my first angle is about 40 degrees. My second angle is a little over 40 degrees. But between the two of them, they're pretty close. Right? And again, like I said, you're not always going to get exactly perfect. 1 or 2 degrees out of the way is not that big of a deal. Yes?
So if it was 41, did you still go to 40 or would you put 41?
I would put 40. Yeah. If it's like 43, 45, then I know I've done something wrong. And that something wrong may be just pressing too hard with my compass because these things move easily. So unless you're using a compass that's pretty stiff, if you press too hard, when you've got a pencil or a pen in there, okay, if you look at this, that's nowhere near where I started out. And see, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, because I'm pressing too hard. So I've got, from here, it kind of wobbles around and then it goes around in a circle here and then there and then there because I'm not holding my compass steady. If I hold my compass steady, then my arcs are going to be equal. But if I don't do that, if I do this one and then I do this one and it goes out further, it's not going to give me the correct bisector. Okay, that's why you want to measure it, because that'll tell you. I mean, you can look at it and say, you know what, those look pretty close. And you can look at it and say, okay, my line is like this. Those do not look pretty close. You can say, I must have done something wrong, so I need to do this again. Any questions? All good? Okay, so an angle bisector divides an angle into 2 equal parts. You can use a ruler and a compass to figure this out. You can use a ruler and a protractor, or you can use paper folding. And by paper folding, if you take the 2 lines of the angle and you fold it in half, you fold them on top of each other, then you'll know what half the angle is. That's not always particularly practical, though. Okay, so here's my angle. If I want to bisect this, I can just take this, fold it so that one line is on top of the other, which is actually really kind of hard to see. I'm going to fold it the other way. And then I get this line, which actually doesn't really look exactly halfway. It looks fairly close to halfway, but that's why I don't like paper folding, because paper folding is the least precise way of doing it. Any questions? All good? Excellent.